I didn't expect to hear the crash again, not after the last warning I gave her. But as the sun dropped behind the hills that evening, the sound sliced through my ranch like a blade, the unmistakable metallic crunch of my gate being smashed open. And when I sprinted outside, heart pounding, dust swirling, and cattle scattering in fear, I saw her. Karen. HOA board member. Self-appointed queen of the neighborhood. And apparently, repeat offender of my property line. But this time, she didn't even stop. Her SUV plowed straight through my gate for the third time in a month, splintering the wood and twisting the hinges like a pretzel. I watched her tail lights disappear down my private road, leaving behind nothing but exhaust fumes and a mocking echo of entitlement. That was the moment something inside me snapped, not in anger, but in clarity. A cold, sharp realization: this woman was begging to be taught a lesson she would never forget. See, ever since the HOA forced a new road layout that curved past my ranch, Karen had convinced herself that my gate was some kind of inconvenience she could smash through whenever she pleased. She claimed the road gave her legal access. It didn't. She said it was community property. It wasn't. But none of that mattered to her, because in her head, rules applied to everyone except her. The sheriff could only give her warnings. Her HOA friends defended her. My insurance refused to keep covering the damages. And every time I repaired the gate, she rammed it again with that smug attitude that screamed, "What are you going to do about it?" Well, I finally figured out what I was going to do. That night, as I stood in the settling dust, staring at the broken boards and bent steel, I made a decision: if Karen wanted to ram through a ranch gate so badly, then I'd build one she'd never get past. Not illegal. Not dangerous. Just revealing. Something that would expose her arrogance for the world to see. Something that would stop her dead in her tracks and make her realize this wasn't a playground, it was private property, and I was done being her doormat. I stepped back inside, grabbed a notebook, sketched the blueprint, and whispered to myself, "This time, Karen, you're the one who's gonna scream." And that was the moment the trap was born. By sunrise the next morning, I was already out by the busted gate with a thermos of black coffee and a plan burning hotter than the August heat. Karen thought she could intimidate me by repeatedly smashing through my property like it was some toy fence blocking her royal passage. But she didn't know I grew up on this land, fixing things with my hands long before she ever learned to weaponize HOA rules. This time, I wasn't just repairing a gate. I was crafting a lesson. I rebuilt the frame first, solid cedar posts sunk deep into the soil, reinforced with steel brackets strong enough to take a hit from a truck. But the real genius wasn't in the gate itself. It was in what I put behind it. About 10 feet back, hidden perfectly in the shadows of a small rise, I installed a second structure. Not an obstacle. Not a barrier. Something far more humiliating. It was a massive billboard-sized sign, smooth and clean, painted bright white with thick red letters bold enough to be seen from the moon. And on it, in giant font, it read, "Trespassing idiots enter here, rightward arrow. Smile for the camera." And oh, did I install cameras, 3 of them. Motion activated, night vision, high definition, and linked straight to my phone. I positioned them at angles that would catch everything: her approach, her speed, her collision, and most importantly, her face when she realized she'd driven straight into her own public embarrassment. But the trap still needed one last ingredient. I quietly spread a thick layer of bright pink construction chalk across the dirt path, powder that would burst into the air like colored smoke when a car hit it. Completely safe. Completely harmless. But the cloud would coat her windshield, her paint, even her clothes if she stepped out. And since my cameras would capture the whole thing, there would be no denying who caused the chaos. By mid-afternoon, the new gate looked deceptively simple, sturdy, clean, freshly installed. Karen would see the same obstacle she always destroyed. but behind it waited a wall of humiliation and a neon cloud ready to expose her recklessness to everyone she bragged to at her HOA meetings. As I finished sweeping the last of the chalk into a smooth line, I checked my phone, everything live and recording. The ranch was quiet, except for the low hum of cicadas. The kind of quiet right before a storm. I leaned against the fence, arms crossed, watching the road that curled toward my property. Now all I had to do was wait for Karen to take the bait. It didn't take long. In fact, it happened faster than I expected. The next morning, just as the sky warmed from deep purple to dusty orange, I heard the familiar distant rumble of Karen's SUV. Even from half a mile away, the sound had a certain arrogance to it, like she drove with the confidence of someone who believed the world should flatten itself beneath her tires. I opened the live camera feed on my phone and felt my pulse quicken. There she was, her oversized sunglasses on, her hair styled like she was heading to a magazine shoot instead of trespassing on private land. She was talking animatedly into her phone, waving her hand around like the whole conversation was beneath her. She didn't even look at the road. Typical Karen. As she rounded the bend, her eyes finally locked onto the new gate. I saw her expression flicker, first confusion, then irritation, then that signature Karen scowl that could curdle fresh milk. She slowed down just enough to glare at the cedar frame, then sped up again, probably assuming I'd made it sturdier out of fear. But this time, she wasn't facing a simple wooden barrier. She hit the gate with a thundering crack that made my phone vibrate, splintering the structure in half. But the moment her bumper crossed the threshold, the trap unleashed itself. A massive explosion of bright pink chalk erupted in a huge cloud around her SUV, blooming like a neon mushroom cloud. It didn't damage anything, just painted the world around her in glowing humiliation. Her windshield vanished under a thick layer of powder. The cameras caught her screaming, slamming on the brakes, coughing wildly as she flung her door open. When she stepped out, she looked like a flamingo that had lost a fight with a cotton candy machine. Pink from head to toe. Hair, clothes, face, every inch of her coated. But the real moment came when she turned around and saw the massive sign behind her. The one she hadn't noticed in her rush to play demolition derby. Trespassing idiots enter here, rightward arrow, smile for the camera. Her jaw dropped so low I swear I heard it click. She spun in circles, spotting the cameras blinking bright red, all focused directly on her. She tried wiping the powder from her blazer, but it only smeared more. Then she pointed at one camera and shrieked like I'd committed a war crime. Meanwhile, hundreds of screenshots were already backing up to my cloud storage. This wasn't just evidence. This was justice with a pink exclamation point. Karen didn't drive home that morning. No, she stormed toward my house like a furious, pink-coated tornado, leaving little neon footprints in the dirt with every step. I watched her from the porch, arms folded, coffee steaming in my hand. She threw her hands in the air the moment she spotted me. "You think this is funny?" she screamed, her voice cracking as pink dust puffed off her blazer with every gesture. "Funny?" I said calmly. "No. But trespassing is a crime. And now I have proof." She froze mid-step. I could practically hear the gears turning in her head, grinding like an old rusty machine. For the first time since this whole ordeal began, I saw something new in her expression: fear. Not much, but enough to crack through the layers of entitlement she wore like armor. "You can't use that footage," she snapped. "I'm on HOA business." "On my land," I replied. "Behind a destroyed gate. Covered in evidence you caused yourself." Her face twitched. "I'll sue." "Go ahead," I said. "But I've already sent the footage to the sheriff's department." "And you're HOA president." "Oh, and the neighborhood group chat." The exact moment those words hit her, her shoulders sagged. She knew what that meant. Her precious reputation, her weapon of choice, had just taken a direct hit. A big one. Karen wasn't just pink, she was exposed. She turned slowly, staring back at her SUV, now glowing like a giant bubblegum statue in the morning sun. Then she did something I didn't think she was capable of. She asked, quietly, "What do you want?" I took a long breath. "Respect. Stay off my property. Pay for the damage you caused. And stop acting like the world owes you a free road through my land." For once, Karen didn't argue. She just stood there, defeated, her pride crumbling like the broken gate behind her. After a long silence, she pulled out her phone, pink fingerprints smudging the screen, and made a call. I listened as she told someone from the HOA that she needed to arrange compensation immediately. When she finally drove away, leaving a fading trail of pink dust behind her, I felt something I hadn't felt since the whole mess started: peace. Not revenge. Not triumph. Just relief. The next week, contractors arrived to replace my gate with the strongest version yet, fully paid for by the HOA, with Karen's donation covering the extra cost. She avoided my property afterward, and word spread fast. My ranch stayed quiet. No more crashes. No more entitlement. No more threats. Just the soft rustle of wind through cedar posts. And the memory of a pink cloud, proving, once and for all, that even a Karen has limits.